Hi, I'm Kim.
I'm Brad.
We're 626 Ohana, California. And today we're going to talk about when you shouldn't buy into DVC, when it may not be the best idea for you.
So please like, subscribe.
And follow along with our Ohana.
Okay, so this video is more about some of the questions that we asked before we bought DVC, and some of them things that people should think about before buying DVC.
It's easy on property to get swept up in the bubble and the presentation and the excitement.
Yeah, so first thing I guess would be do your research.
Yeah, you want to know what you're getting yourself into. It's still it's a sizable decision and purchase in your life.
Yeah, like if you've seen any of our other DVC purchases, I always say do the math.
Yeah.
It has to make sense for you and your family to purchase. And what that means, make sure you can afford the purchase.
So you got to make sure you can afford those maintenance fees and taxes.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of add-ons that people don't realize when they buy it that add a significant cost to DVC.
So you have 10 days from the time that you sign the contract and time you can cancel without any kind of consequences. A cooling off period, if you will.
Yeah, that's kind of a good thing, especially when you're in that Disney bubble and you had the whole presentation. You're so excited to see this. You may need that.
Yeah.
So next would be...
Are you going to buy resale or direct?
Yeah, and there are differences, and we've done videos on these in the past. But if you're buying resale, don't expect all the direct
benefits.
Perks. Yeah. So it's something that you, again, it goes back to that research on everything.
Yeah. So don't get caught up and think that or even seeing a great price and getting all excited about it on the resale market and not realizing that there's a few drawbacks.
And so the next one is...
People that want to stay at certain resorts but have to be spontaneous planners. So it may not be a good idea for you if you can't plan ahead. And what I mean is, like, I used to have a boss that would only let us know a few months ahead if I got the vacation time or not, which would have been really difficult with DVC if I want to stay like at our home resort, the Poly or Beach Club or certain studios or values that are cheaper. Those would have been really hard to get.
Yeah, so just let you know if you don't know the terms, it's 11 months out at your home resort and
7 months out at another resort. So let's say you want to go Christmas week, Thanksgiving, Jersey week, spring break. Those might be really difficult times if you're wanting to have more spontaneity.
Yeah, and Disney World, we all know usually you have to plan way ahead anyways. But if you're spontaneous,
you may not get the rooms that you want.
The next one would be using your points for Disney Cruise, Adventures by Disney, or RCI.
Yeah, there's about what was it we figured out? 7% you get like a return for that year's points.
Starting at 7%, and actually it could be less. It could be somewhere anywhere we've seen between like 3.5% to 10%, depending on how much you paid for your contract.
For a Disney cruise. So you're actually kind of in that case better off to rent out your points. That like for $14-15 per point versus the 3% for a Disney cruise or Adventures by Disney. So if you think you're gonna get all those things for a good price, you're actually almost gonna pay more for those things.
Yeah, so
it's not a good value.
Good value, and we've actually talked to people who've bought a Disney contract.
Yeah.
Just for the RCI perks.
Now they've been happy.
And they were happy they did it because the RCI gave them a lot of flexibility to do what they wanted to do when they traveled. But it's still, cost-wise, probably not the greatest value.
And then also, if you're thinking that they're going to be DVC resorts over at Disneyland Paris, Shanghai, Tokyo, they don't have those. They have what's called a collection, and there's kind of like a conversion rate, but then it comes back to like kind of the same thing with Disney Cruise, Adventures by Disney kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not to your benefit to use them that way.
Yeah. So the next thing would be, is your family is not happy at the parks, or one family member isn't at the parks? We know when family members are not happy, it could ruin everybody else's mood.
Yeah, and I have a situation, I know somebody that goes to Disney World. He ends up going with his brother or kind of like on solo trips just to hang out at Disney because his son doesn't like rides. So he would not be a very good person to buy DVC.
Yeah, and also there's people out there just for whatever reason are not happy or get too stressed out. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, just for one reason or another, or even age. Like if you're getting into that teenager's age and like, oh, mom, dad, I don't want to go to Disney. I want to go do other things. You kind of want to gauge out your family.
Yeah, and then again, like,
and maybe even the future, like how things are gonna go. Like Brad and I know that even after our son goes off to college, we'll probably still want to do festivals, things like that. So to us, that's not a big deal.
Yes, and again, it's one of those things that we planned ahead when we bought our contract, knowing that we would go to Disney, even though he wasn't going to go
Right.
afterwards. And again, so
I don't want to talk about that. That breaks my mother's heart.
So again, that goes to knowing that, doing your research and knowing you're going to be using the contract
And knowing your family.
And that goes towards also if you only visit Disney occasionally.
Yeah, if you're not going every 1-2 years, I fear, especially after this year, if you get caught up in those points and you can't go for one reason or another, like people lost a ton of points during this pandemic because they did the once every 3 years and then they had nowhere to run out. They lost their points. Things come up in life where you can't always go when you want to go. You're at your deadline, you have to use those points, or you're going to lose some, you may lose them.
Yeah. And there's also people who may not want to be going to Disney all the time.
Yeah.
That may only want to go once every 4 years with their kids, or for whatever reason would rather go other places.
Yeah.
This would not be the best use of the funds.
Or even if you like staying at value or moderate resorts, there's people that have favorite resorts at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I'm sad about when we bought was we like the Port Orleans Riverside. We don't go there anymore now because of DVC.
Yeah, so you're basically, with the costs, is you're paying moderate resort prices kind of for the deluxe resorts. So
Yeah.
you're doing a step up for the same price as moderate. If you like staying at the Valley resorts, buying the DVC probably doesn't make sense for you.
Yeah, and especially if you're, maybe a smaller family, something like that. We a lot of times, sometimes my mom will come with us, so that extra 2-bedroom is a big deal instead of getting 2 moderate resort rooms, things like that. So it kind of makes a little bit of a difference.
So another thing is talking about resorts, is the home resort that is available for you to purchase is not your favorite.
So if you don't have the time and plan ahead and you don't want to stay at Saratoga Springs or Old Key West or some of those, and you're like, I always want to stay at the Poly, and it's not your home resort, it may be difficult. Or you want to go to the beach club during food and wine. That's really hard.
Yeah, it's really hard when your home resort, you get that 11-month window, like we said earlier, and it just makes it easier. And just in case you need, if you have a place to have, or if you have a place that's available for you. And again, this runs into something else. Maybe you're buying because you're thinking, we go to Disney World every so often, but we can use it at Disneyland.
It's not as easy as you would think at Disneyland.
Yeah. We have tried at Disneyland, and we have gotten one night here and there before, but multiple nights in a row is
difficult.
Extremely difficult at Disneyland.
And then even like a lot of people have to do the 11 months out if they have any chance of getting it, or if they want. Studios are really hard. It's such a small resort, big demand, not as much
room. This is at the Villas at the Grand Californian, and it's a huge hotel, but there's only a small portion that's dedicated for DVC. And hopefully in the future, we're getting some new ones being built, but as of now, it's just really hard to get into.
Yeah, there's a tower being built at Disneyland that's a DVC tower. We have yet to hear exactly when it's going to open. There's lots of news that will come out about that. But if your thought is, I'm West Coast, that works, and I can pay Saratoga spring prices, you may have more difficulty than you think.
Yeah, so this video was actually kind of hard for us to make, but these are some of the questions that we actually asked ourselves when we were buying our contract to make sure we were going to be comfortable purchasing our contract.
We know that DVC is not for everybody. We love being DVC members, but
and when people ask us, we say, yeah, we love it. They go, oh, really? Do you think we should? We always tell people, do your research and make sure it is right for your family, because it is not for everyone.
And these are the questions that we ask them when people have asked us about DVC is, how do you plan on using this contract? That's really what this comes down to is, are you going to be able to afford it? Is it what you think it's going to be? And what are your needs?
So ask yourself all these questions, and if you see you're still saying yes, I'm going to do all this stuff,
Then we got videos, we'll link below, about our experiences buying direct and buying resale, because we have contracts that we bought both ways.
So with that, I think it's time for us to say goodbye and
Find your magic. Bye, everyone.